Hello, I'm Jeanette Clausen, Peace Corps volunteer, Group 125 in Thailand. And with me is Krongthong Potong, supervisor at TESAO2 in Kanchanaburi. I teach English at Bamankatay School in Kanchanaburi, and my second project is to observe teachers with Khun Krongthong, and she has agreed to talk about that process in this interview. Khun Krongthong, thank you for speaking with me about teacher evaluation. In working with you on teacher observation visits, I was very happy to learn that you use a structured process for teacher evaluation with a 3-step process: pre-observation discussion, checklist for observation visit, and post-observation discussion and feedback. How long have you been using this 3-step process?
The 3-part process is the Clinical Supervision Model. I have been using it since I was trained in a 2-month course of supervisor training at Regional Language Center, Singapore in 2012. 50 supervisors from various parts of Thailand were chosen by English Language Institute, OPEC Thailand, and RELC Singapore to get this scholarship. When we came back to Thailand, we conducted the task training for some supervisors in every area. Later in the year 2013 to 14, OPEC gave the budget for supervisor training in the clinical supervision because of its usefulness for helping teachers to improve their teaching in classrooms. So we improved the package of training by training the supervisor. However, we don't have a follow-up activity after training, so we don't know who has used the clinical supervision in their work.
I'm familiar with a model similar to the clinical supervision model from the United States, and I'm happy to see that it's being used here. In 2013-14, I taught at a school in another province. Teacher evaluation visits by the supervisor from that PESAO didn't include pre-observation discussion or post-observation feedback. What is the situation in Kanchanaburi? Do all PESAOs use a process similar to yours, or does each one go its own way?
Yes, as I told you, OPEC organized the training of clinical supervision for some supervisors who were sent by PESO, but I don't know how well they could use it for helping teachers. For my area, I think there are about several supervisors, including me, using the model of clinical supervision. The reasons why not all of them use it are: the first one, most of them have been supervisors for a long time. They are used to using their own method of direct supervision of the teachers. And the second one, it takes time for observing teachers in classes, so some supervisors don't do that, but they use the method of talking to the teachers about problems and advising them.
So the choice whether to follow the clinical supervision model rests with the supervisor. I'm glad you chose to use it with your teachers. Did you create the forms that you used to structure the 3-part process?
Yes, I created the forms for filling the teacher's answer by adapting from guidelines about clinical supervision from various websites. However, I still adhere the principle of each step of clinical supervision as I was trained.
Can you talk a little bit about the pre-observation discussion with the teachers? Why is this step important or necessary?
Well, this step is the first step of the process. It's important because, the first, supervisors should create a good atmosphere between supervisors and teachers so that the teachers feel free, have open mind, and relax. And when they have to tell the supervisors what they will do, what students are expected to do and learn, and what area of concern they have about the teaching, and what area they would like to be observed. And the second, supervisors have to know what the teachers have in mind for the lesson to be taught by asking problems and clarifying questions. And the last one, supervisors should let the teachers know about the tools they will use during the observation stage, and that the teachers agree with them.
I agree with you that the pre-observation meeting is very important for the reasons you say. The teacher knows what to expect, and even though they may still be a bit nervous, they see that it's going to be a friendly process. Now, briefly about the classroom observation visit, how does the checklist help you, the observer, during observation?
The checklist looks like the guideline to observe what the teachers do in the areas being observed. It helps me to observe only what we agree to observe.
Do you share your notes on the checklist with the teachers after the visit?
Yes, absolutely. Because the teachers will see the evidence of what happened while they were teaching. And they will see for themselves what things are good to continue and what things they have to improve next time.
Good point. If the teachers can see for themselves what must be done to improve their teaching, it's more valuable for them. What have been your experiences of the post-observation discussion and feedback? Are these stressful for the teachers, or are they usually a positive experience?
My experiences of the post-observation discussion and feedback sessions is that when the teachers finish their teaching, they look stressful and worried. That is not good for the observers. So I start the conversation by complimenting them. I comment what they have done in a good way and ask them how do they feel about the classes. After I notice them relax, then I will have a discussion of the lesson implementation, let them analyze their teaching by themselves, and then I will give feedback by using evidence from observation of teaching. And finally, I will make suggestions to teachers for improvement.
And do they usually respond in a positive way?
Yes, I think they do. All teachers I have observed look happier than at the beginning because they can find a way they will improve their work by themselves and also my suggestions. And some teachers need more classroom observation so that they can progress in their work.
Do you have evidence that the teachers benefit long-term from the observation visits?
I have just released the questionnaire of the teacher satisfaction about my classroom observation. About 90% of teachers have satisfaction in the excellent level.
And I think it's very early in the implementation. Maybe in a few years it will be possible to collect more data about how the clinical supervision model has helped teachers over time to improve their teaching. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Yes, I think visiting English classrooms with native speakers like you helps me so much because it makes my teachers try to use more English in their classrooms and they can learn more about teaching English. I noticed that some teachers ask you directly when they suspect about their English pronunciation or something else. And sometimes you have collected something they have done during their teaching. Besides, you can suggest some ideas about CRT, techniques you have used with your students to the teachers as well. I think my teachers have learned more about our classroom observation. This will make them more confident in teaching English, and the good result will be good students.
That's what we want.
Yes. So I would like to appreciate you for working and sharing some ideas about teaching English with me.
Khun Krongthong, the pleasure is entirely mine. I very much appreciate the opportunity to meet more teachers and talk with them about how they teach and give them encouragement. Even though some of them still struggle a bit with their English, they all want to do a good job. It is very hopeful for the future of English teaching in Thailand. Thank you for this interview. The information you've shared has helped me understand more about teacher evaluation in Thailand.
It's my pleasure, Khun JC.